We're conducting interviews on the sidelines of the Latin Finance Cumbre Argentina Financiera, our annual Argentine Financial Markets Conference. I'm joined here by Marcelo Echebarne from the Argentine law firm CEK. Marcelo, welcome.
Thank you very much for having us. It's a total success.
Well, that's very kind of you to say so. We've just had a panel with representatives of the three leading candidates in the Argentine election, their economic advisors, part of their economic teams. We talked about the holdouts. What, from your point of view, are the best and worst scenarios for resolving the question of the holdouts under a new government in 2016?
Well, first, I think it's good to hear all three candidates representing all three leading, not the candidates, but the three leading economies that would be representing, I imagine, the three candidates in the next administration, and all of them agreeing that this is an issue that needs to be tackled. We heard Melconian saying that it has to be tackled quickly. We heard Redrado saying, well, we need to tackle it. It doesn't have to be quickly. And I guess that's a message when you talk about this, that you're giving a message to whomever is across the table from you eventually on a litigation table. And we heard Silvina Batakis, who was very cautious, not to say too much. And I think that's the right approach, to mention that it's an issue that needs to be fixed. But I think she was probably the smartest one in terms of not showing her cards to the adversary, which is essentially what you're doing here. I think the main challenge here, if you ask me, is whether by the moment you reach an agreement with the holdouts, you get the holders of the par bonds accelerating their bonds between the moment in which you announce a deal and the moment in which you close it. And then you're going to be held hostage by these new folks that are coming into the table. Chances are that may happen. I'm not sure how soon, but there's a chance. And I think that's the biggest challenge.
So negotiating with the holdouts in such a way that will be satisfactory to them takes away one problem and creates another potentially.
Well, I think it's critical that whatever option you get to fix this, and I think there is more than one option. You have plans A, B, and C if you want. But on any of those plans, you need to contemplate that there are outsiders that can play a role. I need to devise legal techniques to prevent them from being a player that's trying to take a piece of the action.
Martin Redrado on the panel said that whilst the holdout question is important, it's not the first thing he wants to hear the new president talk about in front of Congress on the 10th of December. Do you agree?
Well, I agree. I think, you and I were discussing a few minutes ago about a hedge fund that always says to me, there is never a dull moment with Argentina. And I think what we want is to be a very boring country where there is no news. It's not that every month when you talk you have something new to discuss, because there is always something unexpected. I think, the first 5 seconds, as Redrado pointed out, are important, but they will need to be consistent for the following 30 years. We need to start looking at the long term, and it has to be long term. It has to be 30 years, not 4 or 8.
Do you agree, though, that it does seem that whoever wins the election and is in office in December, things are going to look up next year?
I think that there is consensus as to the key issues that need to be tackled and solved, maybe different approaches, different manners. But regardless of whomever wins, I'm very optimistic about Argentina. The critical issues are out there. There seems to be a consensus, and I don't know if you noticed, but my reaction is that they pretty much think alike. So I think the issues will be tackled, and Argentina is going to do phenomenally well. We're going to see Argentina again like the country of the 90s. Argentina was the star on emerging markets in the 90s, and it was a star in Latin America in terms of investment banking activity. I imagine the next 4 years is going to be we're going to replicate the same situation.
And all those star bankers in New York and London are going to come back and make some money at home.
Absolutely, they will.